Hello, today we'll do a poem to his Koi Mistress by Andrew Marvell. Koi means shy, modest, retiring, right? So here the poet says to his mistress, had we but word enough and time, this coyness, lady, were no crime. So the poet tells his mistress, who is very modest, he tells her that if they had time enough, yeah, and they had word enough, that is, if they had the means to live and if they had the time, then this modesty in her were no crime. And he says that if they had all the means they wanted at their disposal, he says to her, we would sit down and think which way to walk and pass our long love's day. So they would take their time. They would sit down and in an arbor or a park, they would think which way to walk along the boulevard or along the grassy common and how they'd pass the long day together in their love. And the poet says that if they had, all the things they could ever need at their disposal, he says, thus by the Indian Ganges side should rubies find. Sorry, thou by the Indian Ganges side should rubies find. I by the tide of Humber would complain. So it says that the lady, because of her modesty, because of her withdrawn attitude, because of her shyness, she would travel to India, and by the side of the Ganges river, she would find rubies, and he, by the side of the Humber river in England, would complain of his lover's beloved's distance. I would love you 10 years before the flood, and you should, if you please, refuse till the conversion of the Jews. So he tells her he would he would love her before the flood. The flood is the event in the Bible in which God sent down 40 days and 40 nights of rain to drown out all the evil in the world. He says, if they had time enough, he would love her 10 years before the flood. And if the beloved should please, she would refuse his love till the conversion of the Jews. That came almost several millennia, several hundreds of thousand years later. My vegetable love should grow vaster than empires and more slow. So he says, this love which is not requited, which is not consummated, that vegetable love which does not bear fruit, it should grow vaster than empires. It would encompass the earth, and it would grow more slowly than the vegetables grow. And 100 years should go to praise thine eyes, and on thy forehead gaze. So he said he would praise her eyes for 100 years, the luminosity, the brilliance, the shine, and he'd praise her eyes for 100 years, and he'd gaze on her forehead, her smooth marble forehead. 200 to adore each breast, but 30,000 to the rest. So he would praise each breast of hers on her bosom for 200 years, and 30,000 years he take to praise each part of her body, and age at least to every part, and the last age should show your heart. So he would praise her for each yuga in Kannada or in Sanskrit. Yuga is a period of several million years. So he would praise each part of her for ego, and the last one would show her heart, her virtue, her goodness. For lady, you deserve this state, nor would I love at a lower rate. So he says that this period of time that he spends in praising her is deserved by her because of her beauty, because of her goodness, etc. And he says he would not allow her at a lower rate. But at my back, I always hear time wings chariot hurrying near. But he says he hears time catching up, time's winged chariot catching up, and yonder all before us lie deserts of vast eternity. So after life is over, in the afterlife, eternity, the desert of vast eternity, in which no life exists, in which there is no interaction, there's no communication, there's only silence, and before them lies this vast eternity. Thy beauty shall no more be found, nor in thy marble vault shall sound my echoing song. So he says that after some time, her beauty will no more be found, it will be fade. And after she is interred in the sepulchre, after she is buried in the tomb, in the marble vault, his echoing song will no more be heard, it will no more sound. Then worms shall try thy long preserved virginity, and your quaint honor turn to dust. Then worms shall inherit her body and her virginity, which has been long preserved by her, and her honor will turn to dust. And into ashes all my lust. So all the fire of passion, all the fire of his love will turn, of his lust shall turn into ashes. The grave's a fine and private place, but none, I think, there do embrace. So in the grave, people can be alone to their heart's content, but none in the grave embrace each other. Now, therefore, so now he comes to the advisor. Now, before, while the youthful hue sits on thy skin like morning dew, and while thy willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fire, now let us sport while we may, and now, like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time devour than languish in his slow chaff. So he tells her, now while she still has a youthful complexion, a youthful hue, and that complexion sits on her skin like the dew of the morning, and while she's still willing and able and full of desire, while her willing soul transpires at every pore with instant fires, now while they're still young and the fire of ardor and desire burns, then he tells her, let us sport while we may. So he says, let us come into each other's arms while we may. And now, like amorous birds of prey, rather at once our time devour. And he says, like birds of prey, like the eagle and the hawk and the kestrel, like those amorous birds when they're full of their amour or love. He says, while they're full of their passion, let them devour or eat and use up their time, then languish in his slow chapel, then wither away in the slow chap hour of time which passes slowly. And he tells her, let us roll all our strength and all our sweetness up into one ball and tear our pleasures with rough strife through the iron gates of life. And he says that while they have the strength and the sweetness, let us roll, he tells her, let them roll all the strength and sweetness into one and make the pleasures fruitful, and with a rough effort or toil or work or or trials, let them go through the iron gates of life. Thus, though we cannot make our sun stand still, yet will make him run. So he says that while they cannot make the sun stand still, yet they'll move time, they'll make time move, will make the sun, will make our days fruitful with our love.